It's a Jewish masquerade party. Purim. This is how we do it.
So let's talk about the holiday of Purim, the celebration of Purim. About 2,500 years ago, between the first and the second temple, there was a 70-year period between the first and the second temple where the Jews lived up in Persia, in the Persian Empire. There was a king Achashverosh that ruled 127 provinces. He was the superpower of the day.
He was a silly king who loved to make parties. This king had a queen, and her name was Vashti.
In a drunken stupor at a party of his, he had his queen killed. So he began a search for a new queen. Esther, a Jewish woman, the niece of Mordechai, who was the leader of the Jewish people, was strangely chosen to be the new queen.
Now, Uncle Mordechai told Queen Esther that she must not tell anybody that she's Jewish, and she had to keep it a secret. So Queen Esther didn't tell anybody in the palace that she was Jewish, and she continued to eat kosher, and she continued to light the candles for Shabbat. But there was a very wicked man, and this man was called Haman.
Because Mordechai, the leader of the Jewish people, refused to bow down to him, he decided to have all the Jews killed in one day. He brought this proposal to the king Achashverosh, who readily agreed. Mordechai got in touch with Esther, the queen, and said, "You must plead with the king on our behalf."
Mordechai said, "Esther, I want you to fast for 3 days. That means you cannot eat and you cannot drink. For 3 days, all the Jewish people will fast with you, and we will pray to Hashem to save us."
So Esther responded, "I will fast for 3 days in a row. You have all the Jews fast for 3 days in a row on my behalf, and then I will go before the king and plead our case." The queen invited Achashverosh, the king, together with Haman the wicked, to a party, at which time she revealed to the king that she was Jewish, and the evil Haman was planning to kill all of her people. The king became enraged against Haman and had him hung on the tree which he had prepared to hang Mordechai, the Jewish leader. It became a celebration for the Jews, and on the day which they had planned to kill all the Jews were given the right to defend themselves and successfully were able to destroy their enemies who planned to kill them. Mordechai and Esther declared a celebration, a day of celebration, during which the 4 mitzvot of Purim were to be practiced.
On this holiday, we need to give money to the poor, or tzedakah. We need to eat a nice Purim meal. We read from a Megillah, or a scroll, which tells us the story of Purim. And we send baskets filled with delicious treats to friends and families. And that basket is called Mishloach Manot.
So do we actually read the story of Purim on the holiday itself?
That's right. We read the story of Purim in a scroll, which is called the Megillah. And we read it twice on Purim, once at night and once the next morning. But you have to listen to it twice.
Everyone gathers in the shul, men, women, and children. Typically, people are dressed up in various different types of costumes, all leading to the cheer of the holiday. As the Megillah is read, whenever we mention the name of Haman, especially in many communities where it is accompanied by an adjective, like Haman, the son of Hamdasa, or Haman, the evil one, we stamp, we blow our groggers, we turn our groggers, we make a lot of noise to stamp out, erase the name of Haman.
Purim is actually a very important holiday for giving to the poor, and that is one of the mitzvahs of Purim, which is called Matanot Le'Evyonim, where we give money to the poor.
One should give at least one gift to 2 separate poor people. There is a general practice to increase in our charity giving on Purim. The Talmud says, while At other times, one should be discerning about who they give charity to. On Purim, whoever asks receives. Now, I know that it's difficult sometimes to find a poor person, especially two poor people in your neighborhood. So what is commonly done is we set aside money, and that will be given later through an agent, through someone that you know, to poor people. But it should be set aside on Purim. The final practice of Purim is that we eat a festive meal on this day, in the afternoon towards the evening of the day of Purim, during which we eat and celebrate, sing and dance, and imbibe, drink a little bit of l'chaim in order to raise our spirits up on this joyous day. I want to make note that in the Megillah, in the book of Esther, we do not find God's name mentioned even once. This is very unusual for a book in the Bible, in the Torah. The reason is, while we do recognize God's providence, His divine providence, and that He was the one that made this whole story work, we do not see His name mentioned. Why is this? Because on Purim, we are celebrating the fact that even the laws of nature, even the world as we understand it on a natural level, is also, we have the guiding hand of God which makes it all happen. This is the celebration of Purim. And that's why the celebration of Purim is done primarily through physical enjoyments. We eat, we drink, we share gifts with our friends, all commemorating that even those practices can be infused with godly holiness. This is also one of the reasons why we dress up on Purim. Besides the fact that dressing up sort of lends to the holiday cheer, it's also to show that while we can mask ourselves, we can pretend to be something that we're not, God's presence is masked from us. We don't see it on the surface, but underlying everything is God's presence as well, just as we are always inside our costume.
I'm Shoshana Israel. Purim, that's how we do it.